Hey everyone, Tara Malarkey, founder of Seven Figure Femme and High Ticket Empress, the amazing business course for females who want to embody the next level of wealth by giving their gifts at the highest level. So today we're going to be talking about what your new opportunity is in the marketplace. What's super important right now as a coach is that you stand out in the marketplace. Of course, we don't give in to this idea of scarcity or that there's not enough to go around. But what is really important in terms of marketing, just like in any industry, right, is that you have to stand out in the marketplace. So there's a very specific strategy we use inside of High Ticket Empress that I teach as a part of my method to make sure that you get clear on what your new opportunity is, no matter what niche you're in. I'm going to first talk about your epiphany story. This is a very, very, very powerful thing. And I hope actually students in High Ticket Empress are listening because this is something that I cover, but I'm going to be covering it again here today. And it's very powerful to use in your marketing. So your epiphany story is really outlining, right, the process you went through to get where you are today. And so for the most part, when you're coaching, when you're building this business, usually you're helping people who are, 5-10 steps behind you, right? And so what's super powerful is that if you can help them understand where you were and what you went through to get there. Okay. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of my story after that to demonstrate the power of the epiphany story. And the epiphany story can be used in multiple different stories of your life, right? So it can be used over and over and over again. In fact, you could use the epiphany, and I'm going to break down the pieces of the epiphany story so it makes it really easy for you. But you could use it like for something that happened yesterday or something that happened 10 years ago, a major point in your life or a little point in your life. Obviously, for your webinar, for things that we teach you how to like evergreen certain marketing materials, and we teach you obviously how to do this in High Ticket Empress, but you're going to, for that, you're going to use these big momentous things in your life, right? But you can also use it as an organic marketing tool for Facebook posts or Instagram posts or wherever. You can use this breakout in whatever kind of marketing you do, even for something that happened yesterday, okay? So number one, like the first part of Epiphany Story is a little bit of backstory. Okay, so give a little bit of context, not too much. Don't go on and on and on. Just a little bit of backstory that is relevant to where you're going with the story. Okay, so number one is backstory. Number two, you're going to share what your desires were at that time. At that time. And what I want you to remember at this point, right, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about yesterday, that you are human. And you mostly want the things that most other humans want, which is tangible. They're tangible things. They're the partner or the happy marriage. They're the money, the financial freedom, right? We don't really care so much about money, but we care about the feelings that money gives us. So money is important. We care about having a work, like the work that we love, right? And that we feel aligned with. And we care about health, feeling good in our body, health. That could be weight loss. It could be healing pain and issues in the body. So these are the three main things, like the main things that keep people up at night and the main things they're searching for solutions on. And so when you go back to the epiphany story and you're at the point of the desires, I want you to remember what it is back then that you wanted. And you can't tell me that you wanted more self-love or self-care. That's not what you wanted. Maybe that is now what you know as the pathway to get what you want, but that's not what you wanted. You wanted something tangible. You thought that that tangible thing was the answer to your problem at that point. So what did you want? Okay. And then number three, part of the epiphany story is you hit a wall. You're like, I don't know what to do now. Like I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I can't find the answer. I'm really facing a hard time. I have a big problem. I don't know where to go, which way to go, what to do to solve this problem. And you articulate that as part of your epiphany story. And then after you hit a wall, you have an epiphany. You have an epiphany. And sets you on a new journey. The epiphany, something you realized, you came across something, you started to practice this new thing, you learned something new. Oh my God, answer. And so that sent you on a new journey. Okay? So this also can be named as a new opportunity. It's something that it was a new opportunity for you, and it will be also a new opportunity for your client. You don't have to think too far into that right now as it relates to the epiphany story. But just think that you likely had tried a lot of other things to solve your problem and nothing else worked. And then, oh my God, you had the epiphany. You came across something new, something different happened, something changed. And so after the epiphany, you came up with a plan and you followed the plan and you hit some challenges. You also hit some conflict. You hit some challenges. You got you hit hardships. And those are actually objections, right? That you had and that your client will have. Things that you didn't believe, adversity that hit you that you weren't expecting. Think about what happened in that story. But then you saw the light. You broke through. You started to have some actual achievement. And then you had the total transformation. So this is your epiphany story. I'll walk through it in a part of my story, okay? And so just to demonstrate it for you, yeah? And then I think that you will get how to create this for yourself. It's very, very powerful. So a little backstory for me is that I grew up in I was a first generation American. My parents are Irish, they're immigrants. My parents didn't graduate high school. They immigrated to London from Ireland to literally work at like 15 years old. And then they immigrated to the States a year before I was born in a town outside of New York City. And it was a tumultuous childhood. There was a lot of challenge. My dad was an alcoholic, and then my parents divorced. But mostly because of those hardships, like the divorce, and they were so working class, all they instilled in us, my brother and I, was to go out and get a good job. Get a good job with a company that pays you benefits, that is secure and stable. Go get educated so you make sure you get that job. Because they didn't have that, right? So the thing that they wanted for me was that. And so that's what I did. I went to college. I was like high achiever, type A Virgo personality, where I went to college. I studied economics, even though I hated it. I hated it, guys. I was not following my best path at all. I was just doing what I thought was going to make me money. Yeah. And so I then got a job at the top, literally the top hedge fund in the world, out of college. And then I moved on to a Fortune 50 big financial conglomerate. And I did well, and I got promoted, and I moved up, and I got my MBA while working full time. So I was on this path. And what started to happen right at the end of my MBA was I started to feel totally ambivalent and actually unhappy. I was living in my beautiful Manhattan apartment on the Upper East Side. I was making a few $100,000 a year. I was, had nice clothes and all that stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this can't be life. I don't feel any heart resonance with it. I'm actually not even doing any good for anyone here. And so that pain started to happen, and I just didn't know what to do, but I knew that I wanted, so my desires were that I had Freedom. I didn't want to show up like to this job every day for someone else and them tell me what to do. So I really wanted freedom. I wanted financial freedom as well. I wanted to make money like, on my own. Like being an entrepreneur was like, I don't even know how I would do that, but that sounds amazing, to build my own company. And then that's all I knew at that time, right? Like the desires were just like freedom from having to show up at a job and I wanted to make my own money. And I couldn't even see the pathway to this because, again, even though I was super educated, I was educated in this pathway. So I did not see how I was going to create a company or have financial freedom without having this job. Yeah. Funny thing now is like I make way more money than I did then. And, it's crazy. But so my wall was that I just didn't know how that was going to happen. And then I got laid off. And so there was like a crisis there in that moment. I got laid off. It was the financial crisis of 2009. So hundreds of people got laid off. It wasn't anything personal to me. But again, I had no idea what I was going to do now. Like it actually felt like financial ruin to me. Like my life was actually coming undone and apart. It didn't feel like oh my God, the gateways were opening to a new opportunity for me. It felt like, oh my gosh, what was I gonna do now? This was the only thing that I was educated for. So I was searching. I was doing a lot of soul searching. I started to come across the law of attraction and The Secret and, spiritual teachings that started to like retrain my brain on what I focus on is what I create. And these were all new principles to me. I didn't know that at the time. And I started working it. And literally 6 months later, I was set on a completely different path. So in that time was when I got laid off. And then I went and I traveled all over the world. I flew to Thailand first, and I lived in India and Australia and New Zealand and all over Europe, Nepal, and then Tulum, Mexico for 3 years. And there's lots of places in between there. And what happened was then women started following me, and it started to naturally happen where like the internet was becoming a big thing. People were started following me and they wanted to know how I did this. They wanted me to teach them how I did it. And so the business just unfolded like that. And I could have never imagined or planned that. Okay. But along the way, also, I had no idea how to build an online business. And so I wasn't making money at times, and I didn't know how to do it, and I had to figure it out. So I hit conflict, I hit hardship. I had a lot of objections that came up for me. I didn't know how to do this. I didn't know how to do it on my own. I wasn't trained to be an entrepreneur. And then finally, right, I invested with some coaches. They taught me exactly how to build a business that like actual financial business model that works. And actually what I had to do every single day in order to make business run like a company and not a hobby where I was just trying to get a client here and there and like throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that it would stick. It was actually building an actual company. So I saw the light, I started gaining some momentum, and then I had the total transformation, and now we have $1 million business, right? And it does really well. And it's my mission, God's calling on my life to help other women do the same thing. Like legit, that is what God sent me to do, to tell you this story, to have you absolutely step into this too, because I know it's possible for every single woman on this planet, and it's actually what's your destiny. So that is my epiphany story. Can you see how, right, I fit in all those pieces? And so this is also like your epiphany story leads into your new opportunity, which is you standing out in the marketplace. So my new opportunity, while I didn't go into the details of it, is to actually teach women how to have a solid business model that will actually build a company around their genius, and not just like a post and pray and throw spaghetti at the wall and hope something sticks. That is my new opportunity. I don't believe in just doing one-on-one sessions because you're going to burn out and be broke. And I don't believe in doing low ticket, course launches when you have a small audience anyway. You're never going to get off the ground. You're never going to become cash flow positive. So I have a method that teaches you how to, package up your service into a high ticket program, and then scale your high ticket program using rolling enrollment and groups so that you don't do one-on-ones anymore, right? We have the whole system. We know how to do this. So this is my new opportunity. And it doesn't mean that no one else in the marketplace is doing that, but everything that I focus on in my marketing showcases my new opportunity. And the way that I do that is that it's in contrast to the old way, the way that other people are teaching it, which is like do one-on-one sessions to get your coaching business off the ground, or do a course launch and get your business off the ground that way. I don't believe in that. I believe in high ticket and an evergreen funnel that brings you leads, right? So my new opportunity is in contrast to these other ways or the old way. And that's what I want you to start thinking about. Your epiphany story. What was the epiphany? That's your new opportunity pretty much. And then how is that in contrast to the old way that other coaches are trying to teach your prospect how to achieve what they want? Yes? Is that clear? Because that's a lot. That is a lot.